DE Rebecca asks, at launch, we could learn from a lot of different games. Now we have very few to learn from. How do you entertain someone playing the same game for 7 years?
Who asked this question?
DE Rebecca.
How would you answer that, Rebecca? Can you ban that player?
Yep. Banned.
Sorry, how do you keep making the game? What?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm asking my questions this stream. I figured
hell?
I got banned, guys. Sorry. Feels bad, man. That's okay. But yeah, I think when we were launching, the world of gaming was very different. PS4 and Xbox One didn't even exist, nor did the Switch. We were doing this free-to-play thing. We didn't really know what we were doing, and now it's been 7 years.
And we still don't know what we're doing.
And we still don't know what we're doing, but people have been playing this game for 7 years, and how do you keep entertaining them after all that time, especially when they've become experts at playing the game, probably more than even us at playing?
I think it's bringing more surprises, bringing more changes to the game, bringing things that they necessarily, like, we get a lot of suggestions about what we should do, but I don't know if we necessarily follow those because that's what everyone wants in that small group versus this is where we want the game to go. So I think finding surprises that push players out of their comfort zone and into something new.
Hey, what's up, my savage little star apples? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Daily Grind, we're going to be tackling a topic that, honestly, I have been trying to dodge more than DE has been trying to avoid making endgame content. Regardless, I reached out to you guys on my community tab to see if you wanted something a little bit more light, a tad bit more fun, or if you'd prefer that I weigh in on a heavier topic. And as of time of voting, it seems like 70+% of y'all really wanted me to go ahead and sink my teeth into this one, which is kind of perfect timing because tomorrow we've got a new dev stream, and this is actually addressing something that was said on the previous dev stream. Now, if Editing Rob has done his job right, you've already seen the clip, but when DE Rebecca asked them this question, people have been playing this game for 7 years, how do you keep them entertained after all this time? Legitimately, the looks on their faces was pure terror. It's like Chalutu came out the water and was like, I want answers. And they were just like deer caught in straight up headlights. And of course, the response that followed was not one that I was very fond of. In fact, I wanted to address this topic a little bit sooner, but I went a little Rob ragey for a while, and I decided that it would be better if I put some distance between me and what was said, take some time to process it, and think of like a non-crazy ass response. Now, I do have to give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer. Anything that is said on that couch is not necessarily a prepared statement. This does not 100% reflect the way that the entirety of DE staff is going to create the game, all right? But the way that it was said was not something I was very fond of in the least bit. So take it with a grain of salt. This is what DE Scott's response was. I think it's bringing more surprises, bringing more changes to the game. We get a lot of suggestions about what we should do, but I don't know if we necessarily follow those, because that's what everybody wants in that small group. We'll get to that in a second, versus this is where we want the game to go. Now, y'all know I get triggered when I hear that this is what people want in that small group. That small group. Y'all, whose fault is it that that group is so small? Your actions are the reasons that that group is so small. It's like you spent all night eating Cheetos and you wake up the next morning mad. You're like, where are all these damn Cheetos? Bitch, you ate them last night. It was your actions. It was your actions. Take responsibility for them. No, there was no Cheeto burglar that came in the middle of the night. The Cheetos did not evaporate by some sort of force of nature. It was not your roommate. It was you that ate all those damn Cheetos. You still got all the little Cheeto crumbs on your mouth and on your fingers. Yeah, those are all of the veterans that left your ass. So I'm just saying, take responsibility for it and stop referring to them as a small group, because that small group is the group that you want to grow. It's the group that you want new players to join into. That's where you want your money to be made. All right? So I need to drop all of that small group mentality because that's a you issue, okay? You just expose yourself. Now, the next thing that I want to address is bringing more surprises, bringing more changes to the game, instead of giving us what we want. Because at the end of the day, we want what we want, not necessarily a surprise. And what really got my gears going on this one is it's like you discovered that running was really your thing. You really loved running. So when your parents ask you, hey, what do you want for graduation? You're like, you know what I'd really like? Some running shoes. It's something that I've been enjoying as of late, and it would be nice on my feet if we got some running shoes. So all of a sudden, you turn up on your graduation, your parents hand over a gift, and you're like, this is a strange shape. Doesn't look like running shoes to me. And they're like, surprise! It's a video game! And I'm like, Frame Fighter? What the fuck is Frame Fighter? I wanted some running shoes. I told you, I enjoy running. And they're like, listen, it's a cool new pastime for you to get into. It challenges your brain. I wanted to run. Thank you, no thank you, all right? And then you move on and it's your birthday time, right? And you're like, okay, what do you want for your birthday? I want some running shoes. I didn't get them last time, and you know what? Frame Fighter was a little moment, but it was not something that I really want to invest in. I'd really like some running shoes. In fact, my running shoes are starting to get worn, so thank you for that for my birthday. And then they turn up with a little guitar-shaped present, and you're like, bitch, that doesn't look like running shoes. That is not even remotely running shoe shaped. And so you open it up and you're like, why'd you give me a guitar? Well, you said you wanted something to do during your pastime. I said I wanted to run during my pastime. That's what I said I wanted to do. I wanted some running shoes so I could go out and run. And they're like, but this is another way for you to entertain yourself. And we thought that it might be a nice little surprise. And I'm sitting here like, fuck your surprise. Give me some running shoes. All right, so you get up to Christmas. And they know you've been wanting running shoes, right? You've been tagging it on Pinterest. You've been sending it out to them. You're like, ooh, some running shoes would be nice. And finally, under that Christmas tree, you're looking at all those shining bright stars. And you're like, those boxes look like running shoes. We're going to get it. And then so you're sitting there, you know, your little brother's open up his little box and it's running shoe shaped, and he opens it up and it's running shoes, and you're like, oh shit, he got running shoes. I'm gonna get running shoes too. And then you open up your box and it's flip-flops. And you're like, what? And FYI, for those who didn't catch it, flip-flops are arbitrations. And so you ask your parents, why did you get me flip-flops? And they tell you, oh, well, listen, you've really been on this running trip and it's really inspired your little brother to want to run as well. So we thought we would go ahead and get him running shoes. And we figured that if we got you running shoes too, you might be too fast. So we got you flip-flops. You know, it covers your feet. You can run in them. You're not going to run as fast because we want to make sure that your little brother can keep up with you. And I'm like, bitch, I just want some running shoes. And so the way that I think about it is like, what's so wrong with just getting us what we want? Just get us those damn running shoes, because the running shoes that we currently have, they're tattered, they're old, they're worn, they're dirty. They have not been serviced. It wasn't even a gift certificate to like get our current running shoes fixed. You just gave us flip-flops instead. We didn't need those revives and arbitration, so I'm just like, yo, what is wrong with you guys? And the thing about this is, when we look at Warframe's history, when they give us what they want, or what we want, it's like a win-win. Like if we look back at some of their biggest bright shining moments, we have things like the Second Dream. Now the question is, why was the Second Dream a huge success? It's because players had been asking for the answers to what a Warframe is. And we got those answers. But in addition to that, we also got the focus system, which is something that we've been asking for a long time. Literally, one of the biggest pillars in Warframe's success was something that players had been asking for. And then when we get to something like Plains of Eidolon, right? What was the item in the Plains that got the biggest reaction? It was the moment that the Eidolons emerged from the waters. You know why? Because we've been asking for a big, scary enemy to fight. It's something that we wanted. Now, I have to stress this. I didn't specify what brand of running shoes I wanted. I didn't specify the color of running shoes that I wanted. Sure, I've given y'all inklings and I've given y'all some suggestions as to the color and, you know, the brand. But y'all could get me a pair of orange knockoff running shoes, some Nikes or some Adidas. Get me something like that as long as I can at least run in them, right? You can put a twist on endgame any way that you want. You can put a twist on more difficult content any way you want. And that's what I hope we see with Kuvaliches, right? I'm crossing my fingers for New War and Kuvaliches to give us what we want. Put those twists in. I don't mind. But as long as they're running shoes, I don't want flip-flops. I don't want sandals. I don't want something that's just off to the side, because literally when you come and you surprise us and you want to change the way that we play the game, we get things like Arcwing. And don't get me wrong, I love Arcwing. But overall, are people really invested in it? No, that was something that you wanted to do to surprise us and something to change the game. You know what else was surprising and game-changing? Lunaro. You gave us a surprise. I'm just saying, that was not a great surprise. Next thing what did you give? You gave us K-Drives. That was a nice little surprise. Was it a good surprise? Was it a surprise that we still use to this very day? No. What did we get? All of these games, like side games like Frame Fighter and the Shazwin. Y'all, that's not even remotely what we asked for. Where you guys shone is when you delivered what we wanted, but put a slight different twist on it, right? So when we all ask for like endgame and y'all, or at least just difficult content, at least difficult content with good rewards, and then you hand over something like the Shazwin, yo, that's a stretch. That's like Armstrong levels of stretch. Like, sorry, Dalsim, no, I do not want to see your yoga fire, okay? Keep that stretch to yourselves and just give us something that we can really enjoy, something that we've been wanting. Put your little Warframe twists on it, give it something unique and give it a little bit of a difference, but at its core, listen, I'm not even asking for running shoes. They could be cross trainers, they could be tennis shoes at this point. Just give me something that is at least slightly what we asked for. Because at the end of the day, we are playing your game. We are supporting you. I'm still cheering you on, even though the cheering sounds a little bit angrier these days. I'm still cheering you on, and there's still some great things that you guys are putting out. But at the end of the day, when we support you, sometimes financially, sometimes emotionally, what's wrong with giving us what we want? Editing Rob popping in real quick because I completely forgot to mention the part where they were talking about where they want the game to go. And I think that sorely needs to be addressed by the dev team. They need to be very transparent with where they're headed with the game, because legit, when I first jumped on board this road trip, I heard we were going out west. You know, so I was thinking maybe we'd end up somewhere in sunny Southern California, or maybe we get a little bit further north where there's like nice redwoods and those really cliffside views, all that kind of pretty goodness. But I didn't realize that when they said west, they could have also potentially meant Alaska. And y'all, I did not pack for Alaska. That's not something that I am like good to go on when it comes to road trips. I would like to know ahead of time where you're planning on going. So if I need to get off so that I can save myself a trip down from those cold ass mountains where I ended up jumping out the window of this damn car that you're trying to drag me up into the cold frozen north, that's not where I'm trying to be. Give me some space and let me know ahead of time what features you want to add into the game, what you see as the future of Warframe, what types of players you're catering to. You gotta be transparent. I think that for players that have been playing the game for a while that feel really dissatisfied, we're at this point right now, we're like, oh, are they just doing like a scenic route detour and then we're gonna wind our way back down to where we're trying to go, where we all thought we were trying to go originally? Or y'all taking that scenic route detour and detouring all the way up into some frozen tundra? Because I'm not trying to fight any polar bears, okay? Literally, the only polar bears I want to see are on a Klondike bar. So that's something that I think really needs to be addressed. We need some transparency on where they want the game to go. At the very least, they owe that to us. So we know whether we want to keep investing our time in it or not. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Let me know how you guys feel about DE not giving us what we want, but instead giving us surprises. Toss all of your feelings down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.